A very good morning. You're watching the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha television. My name is Aishwarya Kapoor, and in the next 30 minutes, I'll be taking you through the biggest news stories from India and across the globe, starting with the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to address the annual conference of DGPs and IGPs at the BSF Academy in Tekanpur of Madhya Pradesh this afternoon. Cyber terrorism, cross-border terrorism, radicalization and left-wing extremism among key issues. Today, 18th All India Whips Conference kicks off in Udaipur from today. Efficient functioning of legislatures to be deliberated by the Whips of Parliament and legislatures and the Ministers of Parliamentary Affairs of various states. Union Parliamentary Affairs Minister Anandkumar to inaugurate the conference. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu addresses students and teachers at the 34th convocation of Banasthali Vidyapith in Rajasthan, says education is the foundation for a strong, inclusive and gender-responsive India. Police register FIR over alleged Aadhaar data breach over a newspaper report on the breach of 1 billion Aadhaar cards data. UIDAI says it was an act of unauthorized access and there was no breach of its biometric database. Cold wave conditions continue to prevail in northern and eastern parts of the country. 28 people killed in Bihar. Dense fog affects movement of vehicles and train services. Met Office says similar conditions will prevail over the next few days. Our top story this morning, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address the annual conference of DGPs and IGPs at the BSF Academy in Tekanpur of Madhya Pradesh this afternoon. Earlier on Sunday, Prime Minister Modi held discussions on specific security and policing issues. The meet is being attended by the officers of DGP and IGP ranks from all states and also central police organizations, as well as heads of paramilitary forces and intelligence officials. Now, counter-radicalization, left-wing extremism and issues pertaining to the northeast and security situation in Jammu and Kashmir and policing in future are some of the topics at the conference. Prime Minister Modi reached Gwalior yesterday morning. Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan, Union Minister Narendra Singh Tomar were among those who welcomed him at the airport. The Prime Minister unveiled plaques to mark the inauguration of 5 new buildings at the BSF Academy. He also took part in discussions and presentations on various subjects relating to security. A presentation was made on the implementation status of the decisions taken during the last 3 years as well, and the discussions will continue today as well. Over 250 top police officers from all over the country are taking part in the conference that was inaugurated by Home Minister Rajnath Singh. An efficient functioning of legislatures will be the focus of deliberations at a 2-day conference in Udaipur from today. The whips of Parliament and legislatures and the Ministers of Parliamentary Affairs of various states will deliberate on the smooth conduct of procedures in Parliament and state legislatures. They will also consider the rollout of the e-Sansad and e-Vidhan initiatives in Parliament and state legislatures to make functioning paperless. In the parliamentary form of government, the whips are functionally the managers of the parties within the legislatures. They are a vital link of the internal organization of parties. The efficient and smooth functioning of parliament and state legislature depends to a considerable extent upon the office of the whip. The Union Minister of Parliamentary Affairs and Chemicals and Fertilizers, Anandkumar, will inaugurate the 18th All India Whips Conference in Udaipur. This conference is being organized by the Union Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs and the Government of Rajasthan. And Finance Minister Arun Jaitley says that the recently notified electoral bonds mechanism by the government is a substantial improvement in transparency over the present system. In a Facebook post on Sunday, Jaitley pointed out that the conventional system of political funding relies on cash donations coming from unidentifiable sources where the quantum of money is never disclosed. While Jaitley pushed for transparent options like checks and online transactions or electoral bonds, he added that the government is open to suggestions to further cleanse political funding. On to the other top story. The Delhi police filed an FIR against a journalist over a newspaper report on Aadhaar data breach. The FIR was lodged on a complaint of a senior UIDAI official under sections 36 and 37 of the Aadhaar Act, apart from IPC sections on cheating and forgery and section 66 of the IT Act. The FIR mentioned the name of the journalist and the people that the reporter reached out to purchase the Aadhaar data, but they have not been shown as accused. Meanwhile, the Editors Guild of India has criticized the UIDAI for naming the journalist in the FIR and asked the government to get the complaint withdrawn. On to some political news. BJP President Amit Shah said that a regime change is inevitable in Tripura. Addressing a public rally in the northeastern state, Shah lashed out at the incumbent left government, saying that it has failed on many fronts in the 25 years of rule, including fighting crimes against women and unemployment. Shah added that the BJP-ruled states are much ahead of the states ruled by the left and the Congress. Amit Shah is on a two-day visit to Tripura, where the assembly polls are due later this year.
25 साल के बाद त्रिपुरा के गांवों में घरों में 24 घंटा बिजली आती है क्या? हर गांव रोड से जुड़ चुका है। अस्पतालों की व्यवस्था ठीक है। युवा को रोजगारी मिलती है। महिला सुरक्षित है। किसानों के अपने ही उपज के दाम मिलते हैं क्या? मित्रों, त्रिपुरा की कानून और व्यवस्था की स्थिति ठीक है क्या? सब नहीं 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 नहीं। तो 25 साल तक ये माणिक सरकार की सरकार ने किया क्या है?
News from Uttar Pradesh, where Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath addressed a public rally in Bengaluru on Sunday. Now, hitting out at the ruling Congress government in Karnataka, Yogi Adityanath said that the Siddharamaya government has pushed the state 5 years back due to corruption, divisive politics and anti-development policies. He also hit out at Chief Minister for deteriorating law and order situation, claiming that in 5 years, 22 people affiliated to the RSS have been killed in the state.
चुनाव आते हैं, आपकी एकता को देखती है, तो कांग्रेस आपको जाति के नाम पर बांटना चाहती है। कांग्रेस आपको तमाम अन्य वादों में बांटना चाहती है। कांग्रेस इस देश के लिए आज एक बोझा बन चुकी है, एक समस्या बन चुकी है।
And Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has said that literacy and education are the foundations for a strong, inclusive and gender-responsive India. Addressing the gathering of students and teachers at the 34th convocation of the Banasthali Vidyapith in Tong district of Rajasthan, he called for a holistic, life-giving and character-building education system in the country. The Vice President on Sunday lauded the Panchmukhi Shiksha model of Banasthali Vidyapith, saying that the institution has adopted an innovative way to impart holistic education that enables every student to recognize his or her innate potential and helps in integrating the knowledge gained with its cultural and environmental background.
महिलाओं को उत्थान करने के लिए पहला शिक्षा, दूसरा उनका एकेडमिक पावर, तीसरा उनका सेल्फ एम्प्लॉयमेंट, स्किल डेवलपमेंट, चौथा उनको ये आरक्षण, ये सब बहुत जरूरी है, बहुत जरूरी आज हो गया। केवल आरक्षण से सभी समस्याओं का समाधान नहीं होगा, मुझे मालूम है, मगर आरक्षण भी जरूरी है। महिलाओं को भी देश का विकास में, डेवलपमेंट में उनका योगदान भी होना चाहिए।
Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu also presented awards and degrees to meritorious students. He opined that women's empowerment was a key factor in determining the country's growth and development. and that education was the best way to empower women.
If a man is educated, he is educated. If a woman is educated, the entire family will get educated. इसलिए हम पूरा देश, केवल सरकार नहीं, सब लोग मिलकर उसी रास्ते में जाना चाहिए. हमारे बच्चों को, बालिकाओं को स्कूल में भेजना चाहिए.
On his arrival at the Banasthali Vidyapith, the Vice President received a warm reception from the students of the university. He also inspected the parade and went around the campus. He also visited the birthplace of Banasthali in the campus before proceeding to the 34th convocation of Banasthali Vidyapith. This is Rajkamal Rao's report for Rajya Sabha TV. And in Breakfast News, time for a very short break. We'll be back with more news. Stay tuned.
One of the most influential revolutionaries of Indian freedom struggle, Shaheed Bhagat Singh. Born into a Sikh family, patriotism flowed in his blood at the age of 13. When he formed Naujawan Bharat Sabha to spread the message of revolution in Punjab. In the wake of avenging Lala Lajpat Rai's death, Bhagat Singh and his associates coined the catchphrase Inqilab Zindabad. But towards the end of their rebellion, they had to pay a heavy price for their patriotism. Following the blasts inside the corridors of the assembly, both Bhagat Singh and Batukeshwar Dutt courted arrest. Bhagat Singh was sent to the gallows in Lahore with his fellow comrades, after which he was cremated in Husainiwala on the banks of Satluj.
Hello and welcome. I'm Amit Shah and you're watching Law of the Land on Rajya Sabha TV.
DICC as on date provides a deposit guarantee of 1 lakh rupees, and at this moment the people are happy.
If a company fails, then the company is liquidated.
Option for resolution, it gives about 4 or 5 mechanisms like mergers and acquisition, wrapping up and so on.
Watch Law of the Land on Rajya Sabha television.
Rabindranath Tagore was awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1913 for his book Gitanjali. In 1950, he composed the music and lyrics for India's national anthem Jana Gana Mana. And when Bangladesh became independent in 1971, they chose Tagore's song Amar Shonar Bangla as its national anthem. Tagore's life and works have made him a cultural icon, studied the world over, even into the 21st century.
From a regional power to an assertive global leader.
Unit building is a very complex exercise. You can gain on some fronts, but you can lose on other fronts.
India is changing and there will have to be give and take. The old days of colonialism are over.
We have a strategic partnership agreement that includes areas of cooperation in all fields, including security and defense.
India is taking confident strides on the global stage.
Pakistan is now Terroristan.
New friendships, stronger ties. Join me, Tracy Shilshi, every Monday at 10 p.m. as I speak to India's foreign policy elite. Catch all the action on India's World, only on Rajya Sabha TV.
Welcome back after the break. Now, the BJP and the Congress in Rajasthan announced their candidates for the by-polls to the Alwar and Ajmer Lok Sabha seats and for the Mandalgarh Assembly constituency. The BJP has fielded Ram Swarup Lamba from the Ajmer Lok Sabha constituency and Cabinet Minister Jaswant Singh Yadav from Alwar Lok Sabha constituency. Bhilwara Zilla Pramukh Shakti Singh Hara has been fielded from Mandalgarh Assembly seat. Meanwhile, Congress announced the name of Raghu Sharma, former MLA from Rajasthan, as the party's candidate for the Ajmer Lok Sabha by-election. Vivek Dhakar will be the party's candidate for the by-poll to the Mandalgarh Assembly seat in the state. The Congress has nominated Karan Singh Yadav, a former MP, as its candidate for the by-election to the Alwar Lok Sabha seat. And voting will be held on 29th of January. And today is the last day for the withdrawal of candidature for the Rajya Sabha biennial poll and by-polls. Notification for the 3 Rajya Sabha seats from Delhi and 1 seat from Sikkim were issued on 29th of December last year. Notification for the by-poll to fill up the Rajya Sabha seat from Uttar Pradesh, vacated by Manohar Parrikar, was also issued on the same day. Voting and the counting of votes, if required, will be held on 16th of January. Now, Delhi's 3 seats are currently being held by Congress leaders Karan Singh, Janardhan Dwivedi and Parvez Hashmi, whose terms are ending on 27th of January. Let's get you all the weather updates. And cold wave conditions continue to prevail in the northern and eastern parts of the country. Intense cold claimed at least 28 lives in Bihar. Dense fog across the northern plains also are hindering the movement of vehicles and train services. Around 50 trains are running late, 16 have been rescheduled and 39 were cancelled on Sunday. In Jammu and Kashmir, the cold wave sweeping the valley has tightened its grip on Kashmir division, including Ladakh region, experiencing the coldest night of the season in the state. Srinagar recorded a minimum temperature of -6 degrees Celsius. Kargil in Ladakh region was the coldest recorded place in the state as the mercury settled at a low of -18.8 degrees Celsius. Intense cold wave conditions also continued in Himachal Pradesh and Rajasthan. However, Delhi savored a sun-washed afternoon, which pushed the mercury to 20.7 degrees Celsius. In Haryana, the state government has announced that all schools will remain shut for the winter holidays until 14th of January. In Punjab, severe cold sweeping the state has further intensified as well. In eastern states, many areas are reeling under cold wave conditions. In Bihar, 28 people are reported to have been killed because of cold. Gaya recorded the state's lowest minimum temperature at 2.8 degrees Celsius. In Jharkhand, Jamshedpur experienced the coldest day of the season, and East Singhbhum district administration has asked the schools to declare the holiday for the next 3 days for lower classes. In Odisha, the mercury dropped by 2 to 3 degrees Celsius in coastal areas due to cold wave from the northeast direction, and the Met Office has forecast similar conditions over the next few days as well. And at least 147 Indian fishermen were freed by Pakistan on Sunday. According to reports, the fishermen will travel to Lahore. From there, they will return home through the Wagah border. Last month, Pakistan Foreign Office spokesperson had said that nearly 300 Indian fishermen will be freed in the next 2 phases till 8th of January. On 28th of December, Pakistan released the first batch of 145 Indian fishermen who were held allegedly for fishing in its territorial waters. And here is a quick look at what else is making news across the country in Nationwide. RJD Chief Lalu Prasad Yadav, sentenced to 3.5 years in jail in a fodder scam case, is likely to seek parole to attend the last rites of his only sister Gangotri Devi, who died in Patna on Sunday. Cremation of 75-year-old Gangotri Devi, who died of a massive heart attack, will be held today. The Punjab government launched a farm debt waiver scheme for a section of marginal debt-ridden farmers in the state from Mansa in Punjab amid protests from farmers and AAP activists. Chief Minister Captain Amarinder Singh said that the government had started implementing the scheme from 5 districts of Mansa, Bhatinda, Faridkot, Muktsar and Moga. The Tamil Nadu Assembly convened today with State Governor Banwari Lal Purohit delivering the customary address to the House. This will be the first session for Purohit after assuming charge as Tamil Nadu Governor in October last year. The ongoing transport strike by trade unions and the impact of Cyclone Okhi in Kanyakumari district are some of the matters that are expected to be in focus in the Tamil Nadu Assembly session. And for the first time, 32 Muslim women are all set to leave for Hajj pilgrimage without a male guardian or relative. 12 of these women are from Lucknow, 12 from Kanpur and 4 each are from Amethi and Gonda. The Ministry of Minority Affairs had announced that Muslim women aged above 45 will be allowed to go for the pilgrimage without a mehram or a male guardian in groups of 4. Prime Minister Narendra Modi in his last Mann Ki Baat radio address on 31st of December last year had said that the government has removed the restriction that made it compulsory for women to travel with a male relative or a guardian. He said that the decision was taken after hundreds of women applied for travelling alone for Hajj.
मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, कुछ बातें ऐसी होती हैं जो दिखने में बहुत छोटी लगती हैं, लेकिन एक समाज के रूप में हमारी पहचान पर दूर दूर तक प्रभाव डालती रहती है। आज मन की बात के इस कार्यक्रम के माध्यम से मैं आपके साथ ऐसी एक बात शेयर करना चाहता हूं। हमारी जानकारी में एक बात आई कि यदि कोई मुस्लिम महिला हज यात्रा के लिए जाना चाहती है तो वह महरम या अपने मेल गार्डियन के बिना नहीं जा सकती है। जब मैंने इसके बारे में पहली बार सुना तो मैंने सोचा कि ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है, ऐसे नियम किसने बनाए होंगे, ये डिस्क्रिमिनेशन क्यों? और मैं जब उसकी गहराई में गया तो मैं हैरान हो गया। आजादी के 70 साल के बाद भी ये रिस्ट्रिक्शन लगाने वाले हम ही लोग थे। दशकों से मुस्लिम महिलाओं के साथ अन्याय हो रहा था, लेकिन कोई चर्चा ही नहीं थी। यहां तक कि कई इस्लामी देशों में भी यह नियम नहीं है, लेकिन भारत में मुस्लिम महिलाओं को यह अधिकार प्राप्त नहीं था।
On to some other news, powerlifting world champion Saksham Yadav and 4 others died of injuries after a road accident near Delhi. The 4 other powerlifting players who were killed included Tikram Chand, Saurabh Yokesh and Harish Roy. Yadav sustained head injuries and severe internal bleeding. Now, according to a preliminary investigation into the accident, the speed of the car was very high. Some bottles have also been found in the car, indicating the possibility of drunk driving. Further investigation is underway. A top international story, at least 23 people are reportedly dead and many more injured after a large explosion in the rebel-held city of Idlib in northwestern Syria. The UK-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said that the blast struck the headquarters of a minor rebel faction named as Ajnad al-Kawad group. 7 of the dead are believed to be civilians. It is unclear what caused the blast in the city's Thalatin district. Reports say that rescue teams were working to recover the dead and wounded from the damaged building and nearby houses. Several people remain unaccounted for. Idlib province on the border with Turkey is one of the last major strongholds of the forces opposing President Bashar al-Assad. The Syrian army and its allies have vowed to take back Idlib and the neighboring Hama province. Cricket news, in South Africa will resume their second innings at the overnight score of 65 for 2 against India on the 4th day today of the test match at Cape Town. South Africa has a lead of 142 runs over India with 8 wickets in hand. On Sunday, the match was called off due to rain. The hosts made 286 runs in the first innings. In reply, India were bowled out for 209 runs. This is the first test of the 3-match series.
Beautiful shot, that one. That's out of the screws, that is.
And that's it from me and the entire Breakfast News team at the moment. But news and updates continue on your channel. Thanks for watching.